God damn. Okay. So it did finish. So this is the low fidelity thing that it built, and then this is the high fidelity one. So we didn't have to do anything extra. We just had to prompt Claude to use this and generate the front end using the proper components, and it actually looks like our design system. Big news today, guys. Anthropic just entered the design market by introducing Claude Design, which is currently in preview in their labs, kind of a program. But it's pretty cool to see that companies are actually entering the design market. Huge incentive, obviously. So let's have a look at this thing and what it is actually capable of. Okay, let's test this thing out together. It looks pretty decent. You can access it from claude.ai/design. There's going to be a link in the description. Okay, so what do we have here? We can start a new prototype. You can see that you can either pick from a wireframe, which is kind of nice, no one does that, or high fidelity, and then you can also onboard your instance or your project with your own design system. That's super exciting. We'll see if we can test this out today as well. So that's the prototype tab, then slide deck. Okay, so just creating slide decks for communication. Then we can use a template, I guess. So we can specify the name, we can pick a template, or I'm guessing you can also create a template. So if we create a template, so we can reuse it. That's pretty nice. And again, you can set up a design system. So I am assuming all of these assets will be using the same design system. And then in other, it's a little bit ambiguous what it does. That's okay. So we will probably focus mainly on the prototype. And then recent, it's obviously a recent. My design says, you know, I haven't tested it. There's nothing here. Examples. Okay, so we can see what is actually this thing capable of. So we've got shaders. Shaders are pretty complicated. So it's really nice to see they have that option. What else? We can do app onboarding, and oh, this is cool. You can use the prompt as well. So we might actually try and do that. Okay, so this is actually in a canvas itself, like in Figma, I guess. That's nice. Text streaming as well. So we can test kind of like the text streaming interactions. We can hover to preview. Look at that. That's really cool. Okay, so these are just examples. Then we've got particle effects, smoke, fire, snow, and wind. That's fine. Not super exciting. Okay, this one is cool. So you guys can see you can make changes on the fly and it's going to update the design itself. This is nice. This reminds me of the playground skill that you can get in Claude Code. We might actually try this out later. And we've got, what is this? Cosmic scale animation. It just shows that you can actually create animations with it. Very useful. We've got loaders, organic loaders. Yeah, that's cool. Very organic. I like it. And then we've got a calculator construction kit. Okay, so this one also has attributes and options. So we might actually use this one in a second. And then there's the design system. So you can have your organization design systems being inputted here. And then I guess just used across all these generations. So this is awesome. I really like that. Okay, so let's actually start with the example. Let's actually pick the calculator example. I'm curious how the panel with attributes is going to work. So I guess we just click use this prompt and this is what it looks like. Okay, so reminds me a little bit of obviously like Figma Make or Lovable chat interface on the left, and then the generation or the canvas on the right hand side. We can start with context. As you can see, we can either pick a design system, add a screenshot, or even attach a code base, because you can actually point this application to your GitHub repository. So you can imagine if you have a production environment with, you know, design tokens and the design system components, you can train this tool on your production environment. And my assumption is then whatever you generate here is going to align pretty well with your production environment, at least the front end or the UI itself. But anyway, we are not going to do any of this. We are just going to reuse the prompt that it gave us and just quickly see what other options do we have here. So we've got, okay, so we've got the models that we can pick. We will use Opus 4.7. Then we can attach files as well. So like your PRD documents and so on. We can also talk to it. That's pretty nice. And import. What does import do? Okay, so import, you can connect again, like I mentioned, GitHub. So you can point it to your repository. We can grab web elements. So that's going to probably just scrape the colors and the theming and the fonts from a website in the same way as Stitch does, right? And then what is this? Link code folder. Okay, so we can just point this application to a local folder that has the code base as well and use that for inspiration and onboarding. And then we've got skills and design systems. Let's click on this. Okay, so it shows us all the skills we can actually use during this session. There's a few here. That's okay. Not many, but that's fine. What else is here? Import and then reference from another project. So you can have multiple projects in this application and then obviously obviously reference them, new sketch, paste, export, and share. Okay, anyway, let me just stop talking and let's hit send and see what happens. Okay, so at the bottom we get tips here. It says paste the Figma URL and Claude will recreate the design in code. Okay, interesting. So apparently you can actually create a package once you have the design ready here and you're happy with it. You can send that package to Claude Code and it's gonna actually build the application itself. So it's a little bit different from like Google AI Studio or Figma Make, where you really don't have much control in the beginning of the design phase. You just jump into vibe coding, where in this case it's kind of a weird dynamic, because you are in a way vibe coding, but you're not vibe coding the app, the code itself. You're vibe coding the designs, and then you can send those designs to Claude Code and actually build the application. I quite like that approach. We'll see how flexible this experience is and how valuable it's going to be to the design phase, right? Okay, so oh wow, okay, pretty cool, pretty cool. It is still working, but we can already see visuals. Okay, so this doesn't work, but that's okay. This is not meant to work. This is just design apparently. Good stuff. Okay, so it's now verifying. As you can see, it is taking screenshots as well, what it sees, and it is ready for us to play around with. So what else can we do? Can we make this smaller? Yes, we can. Good stuff. Look at that. So it was asked to generate this kind of a presets and layout and shape and color section, so we can actually test the UI itself and judge, I guess, which one we actually like. So let's click on a few elements here. Damn. Okay, so it completely changes the UI. Okay, so this one is broken, this one is fine. Yeah, so one is broken. That's cool. Oh, I like that. That's pretty nice. I like that very much. Good stuff. Okay, and then layout. Okay, so we've got grid, standard, minimal. So you can check also that as well before you commit to an idea. So it is for like brainstorming, I guess, in a way. Okay, so circles are failing us. Okay, that's fine. It's still in preview. Okay, these ones are not ideal, so maybe let's just leave it. Then we've got screen, dark, LCD, paper, glass. Okay, not much change. Let's leave it dark. And then we've got width, so we can actually test elements dynamically. What does this do? Pretty cool. And then we've got the color theme. I like the idea of being able to actually play around with these toggles and sliders just before you actually commit to a version, I guess. I mean, you can imagine this is obviously a kind of a simple example, but you can have a web prototype of your application and then just have all these sliders and just go and explore that with your team, right? So in design files, okay, so it actually generates an HTML file. So it's all HTML, which is very good. We can download that HTML or we can delete that. We see the preview as well. So I'm guessing the more generations we have, obviously the more previews we'll see. And then if I hit open, it is going to obviously open it. So I also see there's a comment section here. So we can add comments. So we can leave feedback for your teammates below. So, okay, so that's probably a kind of a take on Figma comments, right? Just probably in a different way. Pretty nice. It would be nice to see how people can collaborate with it. Going back to the design itself, we've got tweaks. We can ask Claude to add sliders or options. We can obviously add the comments. So if I were to comment and I guess click, describes the issue or suggestion. So actually, let's maybe fix something. Let's see if we can actually fix the buttons here. Okay, see if it is going to make a change. So we can either comment, so that would be for your teammates, or we can actually send it to Claude. So let's send it to Claude and see if it is going to fix that. So let's see, did it fix already? Yeah, it fixed already. Damn. Okay, very cool. So it was glass, and I think it was one of those, right? Okay, another option that we have is obviously the present option. So in present option, we can view it in this tab. So so it's gonna hide the chat and all that stuff. Very good for like stakeholder reviews, I guess. And then we can full screen it or open it in a new tab. So it opens a new tab, and then we can share it obviously here, top right corner. So if we share it, we've got the name, we've got the team access, again, similar to Figma, right? Figma Design and Figma Make. And then we can copy the link, we can duplicate the project and then duplicate as a template so we can reuse that later. And then we can export. So if we export, we get the zip file, export, then PDF, PowerPoint. We can also send to Canva. Okay, so they're building a relationship with Canva. Very interesting. And then we can export as standalone HTML and we can hand it off to Claude. So let's actually try this. Hand off to Claude. I'm curious what's going to happen. Okay, so we'll get a pop-up. So it is giving us a prompt. We can copy the command. We can download the zip instead, or we can add more details, additional details as well. Okay, so I guess we will copy the command from here. So let's copy it. You need to pick a folder, obviously. So I've got an empty folder. There's no GitHub repository there. Paste that and we'll see what happens. I have no idea what's going to happen. Okay, so it did build. I mean, it's a basic HTML, so just build the whole thing, right? Well, that's nice. I like this kind of a cycle where you can go from the design to an actual actual working prototype. Okay, let's go explore a little bit more. Let's actually look at the setup design system at the bottom and what happens. Okay, so we can specify the company and the brand name and also the blurb if we have one. Then we can provide examples of our design system and products. This is all optional as it states. So you can point to GitHub, which is pretty nice. We might try that. We can link code from a computer locally, or we can upload a Figma file, which most of you will probably want to try. I'm not going to do this today, but just give it a go. Let me know in the comment below if this worked for you. We can add fonts, logos, and assets. Okay, so I want to point actually to one of my repositories. This is a design system we use internally, and then paste the URL. And okay, so we are connected to GitHub, again, web components, proper production code, and yeah, continue to generation, see what happens and if it impresses us. We've got our first, I guess, generation from the design tool using, again, web components, production, ready code. So it's always going to be tricky. So it is still working, as you can see here at the top, but we can start giving it feedback. The base colors, base 100, perfect. That's how we name the colors as well. So this looks good. Dark, that looks good as well. Okay, so it is teasing us to start a new design using this design system. Again, this is production design system, so it's like serious stuff here. Let's do that. Open new tab, and we've got our design system here. Okay, so let's build something. Project management. So I'm curious about the wireframes. So rough wireframes to explore ideas and flows quickly. So let's pick wireframes first, not high fidelity. And the design system is Modus design system. Again, company's design system, and then create. Okay, we're taken here, and we can now describe, I believe, what we actually want to build, or we can start with a sketch. So if we start with a sketch, we get a toolbar with a few options. We pick this here, and let's pick a header. Let's maybe do this. If we save it, well, I guess we just did. Okay, so as you see here on the left hand side, we created this sketch, and it was added as a context, right? So we've got a chip for wireframe. So it tells the LLM, hey, we want to focus on the wireframe. The design system, hey, can you create a simple product management page, which is going to contain what is attached in the sketch itself, obviously using our design system. So send it off, and we will see what happens. So we've got some questions from Claude. That's nice. I like that. It is asking about fidelity. So low fidelity, sketchy wireframe recommended, high fidelity using Modus components, mixed sketchy layout, real Modus type colors. Let's actually pick this one. And what is the table? What are we managing? Projects, products, tasks, generic items. Let's do products with SKU numbers. How many layout variations? Nice. Okay, let's do 3 recommended and see what happens. What should the variations differ on? Site navigation style, toolbar content, table style. Yes, definitely. Bulk actions. So these are multi-select options. Empty loading states. Yes. And then maybe let's decide for me. So let's push it and let's continue. And I'm gonna see you when it's ready. Yo, what the hell? Okay, damn. Okay, let me actually zoom out a little bit. Yes, so it is definitely wireframey, which is perfect. That's what we wanted, right? And we get hovers. We like that. What can we do? See different options. We can select, can collapse. This is ideal for when you're starting conversations with your product managers and you're not yet committed to anything. Okay, so it is mainly just UI. It did add import, export, new product. It's not the proper application. We would use Claude Code to go and build this as an application, but holy shit. The on hover elevation, which is exactly how we use it in our design system. The table, the hovers are exactly like in the design system. The colors are exactly like in the design system. We get this tweaks panel as well here at the bottom. If you guys look at right hand side bottom, we can turn it on and off. So you can always hide that when you're doing like reviews with stakeholders. So tweaks. And then if we were to change variation. Okay, so I did ask for this to be generated in high fidelity. Let's see if it can actually grab the low fidelity wireframe and convert using the proper components. One thing that I actually really like is the fact that you just get more tabs at the top. So you can actually go between sketch, design files. So these are the files that are actually created for this project. These are all the versions I believe that it created. And then you can always go back to whatever the tab is open in your workspace. You can obviously have your comments from your colleagues that want to work with you on this. Yeah, it's really pretty cool. So far so good. Or like quick ideations. Obviously this doesn't look beautiful, but that's the, that's the intent, I guess, having wireframes, right? So we don't commit to anything. God damn. Okay, so it did finish. So this is the low fidelity thing that it built, and then this is the high fidelity one. So we didn't have to do anything extra. We just had to prompt Claude to use this and generate the front end using the proper components components, and it actually looks like our design system. And I actually think that this is far better way of working personally. After 29 years of being a designer, this is definitely a better way of working. So low fidelity in a tool like this, where you can just vibe design ideas and then actually pushing this to high fidelity, than starting in Figma design tool with high fidelity, because there's just so much time being wasted in that tool. And then using images from Figma Design and Figma Make, and then praying to, you know, the gods of vibe coding to get a proper generation. I really like this flow. I like the dynamic here. So anyway, so this is our proper design system, maybe with a few differences, like the icons look a little bit weird. I think these are just PNGs that it uses, but in general, yeah, so it looks kind of nice. These are our icons. Some of the icons are missing. Maybe we don't have an icon that represents orders. Maybe being able to selection colors, very accurate, and then sort. This is okay. So this is also a missing icon. This is the alternative text. So there's an icon that is missing here. You got pagination at the bottom, which looks like kind of like our pagination. Yeah. So again, this is not an app. This is still a design, right? Cool thing would be like if we could just drag and drop things around here. Obviously, like you can in Figma Design with the auto layout. But I think there, you know, it's gonna get there at some point. So what you would do with this now is you would go and where was it? You can just hand it off to Claude Code, would have your even production repository hooked up, and just hand this off to the production code and just go and create this page or create this section in the application. Pretty wild. And it is super interesting where the thing is actually heading, and how Anthropic and Google are actually entering the design market. And in many ways, they're starting to own that. Okay guys, quick one today. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe if you like the video. Super exciting. Again, companies entering the design kind of a market. Obviously, huge market, a huge incentive to be part of it. And it is really looking very promising for us. Maybe not so much for the big companies like Adobe and Figma, but for the consumer, 100%. So thank you for watching. Let me know what you think, if you actually got access to it and if you played around with it. And I would love to see any examples, what you were able to build together. I'm on LinkedIn, so you can just give me a follow or just connect with me and send me a message. So thanks for watching, guys, and I'm gonna see you in the next one. Thank you.